Good morning, Nassim. Welcome to the I Love Coaching podcast. I'm excited to have you here today.
Good morning, Adam. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, so excited. Now, this is really fun. So, listeners, check this out. If you didn't hear me on Nassim's podcast, first of all, you need to go listen to that. Give her a like, give her a follow, give her all types of comments about how bad I was there because she's going to rock it on our podcast today. Yes. Well, you know how we start the show. Every time we have a guest on here, I love to ask the question, you were born and then what happened? So take us back to wherever you want to and introduce us to yourself.
Sure. Again, thanks for having me and for being on my show. We had such a
Much
fun conversation there that it just, honestly, I didn't want it to end. So
Yes.
having the opportunity to hop over here and continue our conversation is, I'm really grateful for that. All right. So what happened? Well, I was born in a long time ago, and at the time, the world was a bit of an unstable place. So the reason why I start with that context is I think it shapes us, right? Like, it's really good to keep people in the context of their background. And I think you can learn a lot about why someone's default behaviors and emotions, and we can get into all of that, are what they are. But I am a product of immigrants. They were not immigrants when I was born. I was born overseas in Iran at a time where there was turmoil. And I know we're in a climate now that there's turmoil again, but I am exactly that generation. So I was born during the previous turmoil, and now we're living through, some unexpected turmoil now. But the reason why I share that is when you're raised, when you're brought over to a new country, you're 1 years old, like that other culture is what it just kind of freezes in time. And so I was raised with the values of that culture of that time, right? This is go-getters. These are immigrants grinding it out from zero. They don't really know the language. They don't have a good support system here. And they just did whatever they could to make it work, including going to school here. And being a product of that environment, I love that about myself, quite frankly. I think it makes me just want it more, appreciate the things that I have. I understand like why my default behaviors are the way they are, and just understanding that. Now, I'm also blessed with two parents who have the biggest heart. So I cannot wait for them to hear this because I don't tell them enough. But they have these really generous hearts. They do things for us. I have a sister as well. Um, just always giving. They wanted the best. They did the best. They grew up in a very structured, be perfect environment, and they raised us to strive for excellence at
Wow.
every pass and everything that we do. And you lean on each other and use your resources. So the reason why I share that context is that really shaped me not just as a professional, right? So I came from the executive space, but now as a coach. And I think my clients and the people that I collaborate with really, I feel like they benefit from that background because it's a very generous open-heartedness, but also I'm right next to you grinding it out and doing the work, right? You are not alone and we're just better together. So I start with that. And of course there's lots of stuff in between, but just that context, that's what happened with, once I came into the world.
Well, and thank you for sharing that. That's such great background, such great context. And what's really neat too is when we had our interaction on your podcast, I could feel that drive, that motivation, that enthusiasm for learning, for education, for growing. And I was the one talking, and you were the one doing that question asking. I absolutely loved it. And as a coach, we know that our clients sometimes need to borrow our confidence, right? And you can feel you ooze confidence. Oh, I just absolutely love it. So that's well, confidence and confidence can sometimes be masked, though, right? It can be
Mhm.
fake. And when someone borrows your fake confidence, that's inauthentic, they're going to crash and burn too. And you'd have zero of that. So excited for
Thank
you
you.
to dive in and share more with us about that. Because now in the coaching space, w- um, well, let's back up for a second because I know this story, but what put you into the coaching space? How did you get into this coaching space?
So yeah, my path is very much not linear. So basically, if you imagine like a road that you're on and it's just straight, right? Like you are on that straight and narrow path, right? You go to college, you go to the next kind of step, grad school. So for me, that was grad school, got my master's degree, everything in psychology, although bachelor's, I also did neurobiology and physiology because I'm really interested in that brain
Yeah.
interaction and how all the systems of the body connect. And that comes in my coaching now too. So even that foundation still carries forward. But I got really passionate about teaching, and I had always been, right? I had been tutoring friends and, tutoring people in the neighborhood since I was little. I taught dance for a long time. Like, I've always been teaching, and I think it really clicked that I love making a difference in people's lives through education, and that clicked really early on.
Yeah.
It was reinforced by this amazing professor I had at Penn State in my graduate school experience, who just loved teaching. Like,
Mm.
when you're around people who love what they do, it's magic, right?
Yeah.
It's just so I know you're talking about it from a point of confidence, but it's also being around people who are in their passion spaces. And I know you and I talked about callings, and I think we'll get
Yeah.
there, but that sense of it's not work for them.
Mm.
They just enjoy every moment of the opportunity to be in that space. And I had that kind of faculty member. And that path, I just did kind of what was expected next. Like, so I taught at the 2-year and 4-year, both public and private space, right? I was that tiny little faculty. I'm not very tall. That tiny little faculty at, on a stage, and I in this large lecture hall, and I hated teaching that way because I actually like to teach like with you. So even
Yeah.
though I had like 300 people or 400 people in the lecture hall, I'd click, click, click up the stairs in my little heels and go and be right with that middle row and be talking face to face, all mic'd up, all the things. And I taught psychology for a good long time, both in the large classroom environments, small classroom environments, 2-year, 4-year institutions, public and private. And I love that. And the next thing that happened is life, right? So, you go to grad school and then, okay, well, kind of time to get married. And I did that straight next path, right? The actual kind of linear road. Then had my first child, my daughter. She's fantastic. Um, and then, back into the workforce. But at that point, there wasn't any jobs left because I
Mhm.
hit the recession timing.
Mm.
And so I was able to combine what I love about research and what I love about teaching, and I crossed over into the administration of colleges. From there, literally the linearest path ever, but very accelerated. So I ended up being one of the youngest vice presidents in our state for a very long time, and just really rose through the ranks very, very quickly. All of this to say, none of it's coaching,
Mm.
right? Like, if you're
Mm.
listening, you're like, wait a second, didn't
Did
you
you say
just say she
coaching?
was a coach? So fast forward a few vice presidentships, in different community colleges here in the state of Maryland. We came back into Maryland. I in that time also had a second child, and had this opportunity to go to the next step, right? Once you're a vice president, what's the next step? Next step is to be president. So
President.
you put yourself on the job market and you do all of that. Of course, we also had COVID in there somewhere, right at that kind of transition point, and just like everybody else, right, or at least everybody in my circles, we really started to like question, like, what's the point?
Mm.
Like, we have been grinding, and I loved education. I still love education,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you still hear it. Like, I
Sure.
was not an unhappy administrator. I'm a happy administrator. I love the impact we're making. We are democratizing education in the community college system. We are making it better. I'm consulting on the side. Having national conferences, all the things, right?
Right.
Kind of living what I thought was my dream in this very linear path. And then you start thinking, well, if I take this presidency, I'm about to sacrifice all these other things I think are important too. So the question was, do I love it enough?
Mm.
Is it Is that enough? Or have I just been carried down the stream?
Mm.
And I love the water and I love the stream,
Right.
but have I paused enough to really understand if I'm in the right body of water?
Mm. So
And
good.
that moment, let me just tell you, is very hard because you basically turn around behind you in all of your career and you're like, I've had a really good time. Why would I pause? But I didn't think I was going to pause and leave.
Mm.
I thought I was going to pause and reaffirm.
Okay.
And in a way, I did because I reaffirmed what I'm truly passionate about is making a difference in people's lives through education. And I said that when I was tutoring. I knew that in graduate school. That didn't change. But
Mm,
the how to make that difference in people's lives is what I allowed myself to broaden my thinking about.
mm,
And just taking yourself out of a box that you've created or potentially society's created or your degree program created, right? I don't want to say brainwashed, but we were really highly encouraged coming out of a Research One institution to be faculty,
yeah.
right? Go after grants and all the things, right? And I love that. I had such a good time and I still honestly could go back,
Yeah.
but I had put myself in a box unknowingly. And
Mm,
that realization honestly was super hard because the first day that I wasn't working full time. So I did resign. Let me
right.
quickly say, very hard decision, very calculated. I have an amazing spouse who, we had lots of conversations at the time. It took months for me to come to like, I'm about to give up my salary to not work without a plan, which was exactly opposite of this very straight road that I'd been on. Basically, I was creating a hairpin turn, but I wasn't sure if it was hairpin or if it was straight or if it was a hard right or a hard left. I had no idea. All I knew was I couldn't see the other side of it, but I had to stop there.
Yeah.
And we just had lots of really honest, hard conversations, calculations, spreadsheets of could I, or even for how long, could I not work and
Mm,
still maintain our lifestyle? Again, we're in COVID,
sure.
right? And we had put some provisions in place around COVID to help us through. Um, and everything's uncertain. Who knows who's going to lose their job next, right? And we see this from the people around us. So we're in a really uncertain time. We took a risk and I hit pause. And then the hard work began.
Mm,
That was when I was like, "Oh my word." So I resigned on a Thursday. I really should have resigned on a Friday, just in hindsight. But I resigned on a Thursday, and Friday morning, I had nothing. No emails to check, no reports to read, no personnel things to handle, no random texts of some crisis, right? I mean, as a
sure.
VP, like if it gets to you, it's usually bad news,
Right.
right? Nothing, nothing. And everybody's at work and the kids are at school. I cried
Mm,
for
mhm,
hours. I
mm.
cried for hours. What have I done? I've worked really hard, right? Like all the thoughts
Second guessing. Sure.
that one has, not just me, but when you make these hard pivots, you think you thought it through, but no one tells you about the first day of doing nothing. Like I really should have scheduled something, right? Scheduled a lunch with a friend, a coffee, I literally sat on the couch. I didn't even watch TV. I just sat there and I had this moment of like, what have I done? And then the weekend came around and it was fine again. But Monday, again, Monday without work at my house. I mean, I was used to getting up at like 5 a.m., working out, showering, putting a suit on, putting my heels, coming down, making breakfast, getting the kids out the door, driving an hour and 15 minutes to work, right? Working, then driving an hour and 15 minutes to a field, right? I have athletes. So to a field to pick up somebody from practice or pick up everybody along the way, get home, make dinner. Oh, and maybe 12 hours later, take my heels off again. And now I'm like, I'm in socks
Mm,
all day.
mm.
So systematically beginning to first allowing myself to sit in that was so important,
Yeah.
right? Because you almost grieve.
Yeah. Well, pause for a second because there's so much there that we could unpack, and we could actually probably make this podcast about a 4 hour. Well, we could fit your window of 12 if you
I,
wanted to.
at
Again,
this point, I'm not even a coach in the story.
I know, but there's so many listeners that are feeling the exact same way that you did. I'm in my space that I love. I'm in this environment, this ecosystem that I've paved the way and I've defined my own success. And yet I'm questioning, do I want to stay?
Mhm.
Right? Do I want to stay? And so many people go through that. And there is a very small percentage, very small, who do what you did. Very
Mhm.
small. Because they are afraid, as John Maxwell always says, to jump the fence.
Mhm.
They're afraid to jump the fence. They don't know what's on the other side of that fence. And we know that security is truly the enemy of good to great, right? It truly is. And I've coached many coaches that have taken that leap, have jumped the fence. And here's the most important thing, we haven't got to it yet, and I can't wait for you to share with us, is that moment when you realize that the past container that you were in was not truly your identity, right? It
Mhm.
wasn't your identity, but we allow that container to we'll take your language, 12 hours you and define who you are. But boy, when we get out of that container and it's like, uh-oh, I'm naked. What do I do? It's that dream where you're running down the field, or maybe it's just me that has this dream. You're running down the stadium, and it's like it's a packed stadium, but you're naked. It's like, uh-oh, that's how that feels sometimes. So what happened then on the other side of that fence? You jumped over the fence. You're on the other side. You're on your couch with socks, not
Mhm.
heels. You're
Mhm.
thinking to myself, okay, I should have planned the coffee. I'm alone. What happened next?
Yeah, so I think the best thing that I did was I got off the couch.
Mm.
I did a ton of home improvement projects.
Okay, made yourself
Just
busy.
honestly, I
Yep.
was like, "Well, now I have all this time. What are the things that I've put off that can make like, the quick things that can make me feel productive?" 'Cause I
Mm,
think that's what I felt like I was missing. Now, I'm not saying checking emails and reading reports is productive,
sure.
but it does make you feel productive, at
Yeah,
least made
busy.
me feel
Mhm.
productive. So I
Yeah, busy.
started to add things in quickly that made me feel productive just to kind of take the edge off of the situation. But I did not ignore the fact that I needed to sit in this uncomfortable
Mm,
space. So both can be true at the same time. Oftentimes we kind of pigeonhole ourselves to say you got to do one or the other. No, I allowed myself to do one at a time, but allowing both to be true. I
mm,
needed to put some safeguards in place for me. To go back to your kind of leaping over the fence, I think for me, what I started to realize is, and this was before I actually submitted my resignation, is I became really comfortable not knowing what was on the other side of the fence because I trusted me.
so good.
I trusted that the core things about me, my ability to learn quickly, my ability to network and connect with people, my expertise in the space, right? My actual technical knowledge that anytime I wanted, I could just come back exactly to the space.
Mm,
And my network, my past quality work, the expertise that I brought was going to allow that. So it in a sense, and besides, like, my family financial situation, which I know for some people that is the biggest barrier, so I don't wanna kinda discount how important that was for me to allow me this space, and not everybody has this. I know that's from a place of luxury. But I trusted me. I didn't trust the environment that was unknown. But I knew I could handle whatever it was,
yep.
and I knew I had a support system that was gonna help me. So with that knowledge before the resignation, yes, it was hard after because exactly like you said, I would go to the kids' school because now I had time. I could pick them up from school. I
Right.
could go to like, my daughter had just started high school, so I could go to her soccer practice after school and watch or go to her 4 p.m. game, which I never would have been able to make
Mm,
it to. So now I was like, "Wow, this is amazing." But then when you're sitting with parents on the sideline, that, "Hi, how are you? Whose mom are you?" Right? Like, you do the quick, like, "I'm so and so's mom, I'm so and so's mom, I'm so and so's dad." And then slowly you're like, "And what do you do?" That's when it would hurt. 'Cause I didn't know what to say. I
mm,
didn't know who I was without being able to say my title.
right.
And once I realized that that was toxic for me, I'm not saying it's toxic for everybody. That was toxic for me because when it was gone, I was lost.
Yep.
Whereas I had not changed. My role had changed, but I started to become more me when I figured out who I was without my role.
Mhm.
And like, it's amazing to like get to know yourself again without your roles. Like, I've always been someone's mom, someone's wife, someone's supervisor, someone's direct report, right? Like, I've always had these titles and I identified myself in different spaces by my title, my role.
Yep.
And now I could just, so the question of like, what do I do? And I reflect on this in the podcast because a few years after that, my friends were like, you are glowing. You look amazing. You're so happy. You got to tell people about your process. And so that's how the podcast was born, Becoming My Stronger Me.
Yep.
And the first whole season, so the whole year was me reflecting. And I have this episode about like introducing yourself. Like, why do we say, what do you do?
Right.
That's not who I am. Better
Mhm.
question is, what do you want me to know about you?
So good. Yes.
And then I love to read. I could be some high powered executive, but if I, in this connection, feel like we could connect on a book and I love that too, why don't I introduce myself as that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why don't we do that more? And it just really got me thinking about who I am, my passion spaces, like, what is my added value to places and spaces beyond my title?
Mm.
And so I started volunteering. Like, what did you do? I started volunteering everywhere. So I was volunteering at the school. I was volunteering for their teams, which I had always done. But it like really ramped up. And then it allowed me to explore what I was missing. Like, I loved being in the athletic space. I missed that. I didn't know I missed it because I didn't allow myself the time to miss it. I love, because I used to be an athlete. I mean, I am an athlete
You are an athlete. Come
at the
on.
core,
Yes.
but I don't compete anymore.
Okay.
And I love that environment. And I love watching people thrive. I love watching people stumble and get back up. Like, I really enjoy the process of watching athletes grow at
Mhm.
every level. Like, I could watch the little itty bitties, like 3, 4 year olds holding their parents' hand, chasing a little ball or swinging something, right? I love that. And I love watching the pros
Mhm.
all over the world. So I started to kind of piece together all my different passions. And I had this one person who was the varsity coach of the boys at the time, Derek Phillips. He and I ended up co-writing a book. Um, but he and I got to know each other. And because I was volunteering for everything, right? He needed some help in his business to strategize expanding his soccer business. And he was going to be training my son. And I loved how he trained. I mean, he's just this amazing talent and knack for observing what the athlete needs and then delivering that. And he just needed help expanding the business. So I was like, you know what? I've been a chief strategy officer for so long. Like, how hard? Like, it's literally the same process, right? You just guide people and facilitate people through thinking what they want, how to get there, action planning, key performance indicators, milestones. I can do that for a small business. Like, right? If I can do it for a college of like 40,000 students, I can do it for a business that has, I don't know, 20, 30 athletes. So I started helping him all the infrastructure stuff. Now, I wasn't necessarily doing it all myself, but helping him organize and then get it completed. And the more and more we worked together, the more and more he was like, you would be an amazing coach for athletes.
Mhm.
And so he just said it once.
Mhm.
And then he said, you know what? I actually have a player right now who's playing in the USL. Just talk to him. He didn't say coach him. He didn't say mentor. He didn't put a label on the interaction. He just said, can you talk to him? He could benefit from listening to you. And I was like, okay. Like, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I can ask questions. I'm curious, right? I'm curious about people. I love people's stories. I love to help them think through things. So I met with the athlete, and it took a little bit because the athlete was a little resistant. When you have a PhD in psychology, people sometimes people think you're a therapist automatically, and I am
Mhm.
not.
Sure.
I'm a developmental psychologist. Um, so I met with him, and then it just blew up from there. So it took an openness from me trust in my skills, and someone saying something that I allowed myself to actually hear.
Mm,
People say things all the time,
sure.
right? Like, there are plenty of people in our listeners' orbit, in your orbit, that you would be so good at, and then fill in the blank, right? And
Right.
we're like, yeah, whatever, thanks, right? Like, we just kind of brush it off. But for whatever reason, that cocktail of like me knowing myself, being open and receptive, trying new things, having the bandwidth and space, and just saying, I don't know where this is going to go, but I can do this one step.
Right.
And it literally blew up from there. So then it started to spread, right? He started sending me more athletes at the pro level. I was coaching pros from overseas that were coming back in transition, like not the easiest situations either, pros
Sure.
that were injured, right? So he wasn't like giving me like quote unquote easy athletes, right? I was being taxed. So very quickly, I was like, I don't want to have a knowledge gap. So I quickly did like a mindset coaching certification. I started reading a ton. Again, I trusted my ability to learn
Yeah.
and fast. And I trusted that if I made a mistake, it was going to be okay
Sure.
because I'm good at recovering from mistakes.
So good.
And fast forward, like then I was like, oh, I guess I need a company, right? Like, and I was like, well, I've run a consulting business, but I've not run a company that like has this kind of interaction and has so many different parts. And so I was like, but I'll learn. Like, let's launch it.
Right.
Is there a new idea? Sure. You want me to come talk to a team now? No problem. Never done it before. Oh, I
Hmm.
learn real fast, but I had talked to a classroom full of students,
Right.
right? I had talked to as a manager of a soccer team, I had done presentations to teams. I had
Yep.
done presentations to parents, right? Like I was like, I could talk to them. I did keynote, things to like thousand plus audiences. I'm like, if I can talk to 1,000 experts in my own space and be the person, I can talk to like a couple of parents. So my business now, I don't limit myself. If someone's like, so and so needs to hear this, and it's like a group of people that I don't normally target, such a businessy word, right? I
Sure.
don't normally engage with or interact with, but they could benefit from the information. I just say yes
Sure.
because my mission is to help people through education.
So good.
Goes
Okay.
back to that. It's anchored.
This is, I mean, I could sit here and listen to you all day. I'm supposed to be leading this podcast, but all we're doing is learning from you, my dear. I love this. This is so good. Okay. But I want to go back just a few paces and bring some light to you because you are so amazing. Check out your ability to handle adversity, right? Your ability to handle adversity, whether that was mental, whether that was emotional, don't know how much of it was physical, but we could throw that in there.
Mhm.
And think about how you possibly learned that through watching what your parents did,
Mhm.
right? So that learned skill set was not necessarily taught, it was caught. And that's
Yeah.
powerful. Okay, now let's move forward. You brought transferable skills from your past container to this new, not new, but now this space of you serving people. You were still serving people in the past. Now
Mhm.
we're serving people in a different capacity, but we're still serving people. So you brought transferable skills and you didn't say, oh, my past container was that of an administrator. So I need to go stay in the space of maybe supporting consulting administrators only in the school system. You work with athletes.
Mhm.
You work with athletes now. And you could probably work with a whole lot of other individuals and groups because of your skill set in the mental space, right?
Mhm.
Oh, it's so powerful to watch and listen to you because that is that is such a challenge for people to see and experience because of fear, because of limiting beliefs, because of whatever they have in their head, the enemy that comes in and says, yeah, no, you probably shouldn't, right? And you just said, nope, forget all that. I may have some challenges, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to trust myself.
Mhm.
It's really interesting about that language, trust myself. And we'll use some business talk here. When we have people that come to the finish line with us, right? So we've taken them through our intro or discovery call or whatever it is to see if they are aligned for receiving the value that we can provide.
Mhm.
I always say that people do not pull the trigger, not because of misalignment, because they don't trust themselves.
Mhm.
Right? They see you, they see your payoff, they see your process, they see your methodology, and they need it. They want it, they desire it. They actually should have it, but they don't trust themselves. And yet,
Mhm.
look at you. You stepped away from all what you did because you trusted yourself. And I have no doubt that your clients feel that and borrow that, truly that just that confidence to trust themselves. So, love this. Now, let's get into what you do with these athletes. Let's get into
Can
the
I
book.
pause just real quick? So,
Yes, and the
I'll take
books that
one
you've
more
written.
opportunity to educate on one thing because
Good,
I
bring it.
love confidence and trusting yourself. I think
Yep.
that's such an amazing combination. So, when I coach confidence, oftentimes when, a coach will say to be more confident or a boss will say like, just be confident, you'll be fine in this presentation. They're not telling you how.
Right.
Right. And for a lot of us, our confidence comes from these external factors. So the way I coach confidence is I coach it like a math problem.
Okay.
Confidence with then the equal sign, like an actual math problem. Confidence equals trusting your skills plus, so it's addition, simple, owning your role.
Mm.
And confidence equals trusting your skills and owning your role. And when you trust your skills and own your role, this confidence is nice and stable. But the goal is to have confidence that's unshakable. It's not to trust your skills all the time. We will have moments or even periods of time. For some reason, we won't trust our skills as much.
Mm.
Sometimes it's after, maybe a health scare. So if you're a athlete and you get injured and you're coming back, maybe you don't trust your skills as much anymore because they feel a little rusty. Your body's not operating. So I'm using
Right.
athletic examples, but easily in leadership too. Maybe you are learning something new. There's a new project on your plate that you've never done before. And you're like, do I have the skills to do this? And sometimes that trust in our skills fluctuates.
Sure.
When that happens, in order to keep confidence stable, remember it's an addition problem. You just add more, you own more of your role. Right?
Yeah.
You lean into that element so that your confidence is unshakable. Again, it's not about confidence just staying high. In my opinion, proactive confidence, that really
Mm.
stable confidence is what we should all be striving for. There's
Yeah.
also times where your role is going to shift or become uncertain, a new job, right? Or being a new parent, or you've got now, a middle schooler going into a high schooler. And yes, you're a parent, but your job is changing, your role is shifting. And when that happens, when the role shifts, what can you lean into to keep it stable? Trusting your skills.
So
And so for me, with the role going to like super, super, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't own anything, like almost zero. I had to lean on my skills to keep that confidence stable. So the reason why I share that is it's not because we want to always trust all of our skills. It's unrealistic. Like we are human. We're going to fluctuate and ebb and flow with so many factors. Sometimes within ourselves, the voices in our head, the feedback we're getting from the world, different environments. But if we keep in mind that it's not solely based on one thing, our confidence is not eggs in one basket. We have so many things that we can rely on to keep us unshakable.
mm.
And I think so that's what I wanted to interject is like you did a really good job linking the two. And just so I want to highlight that it can be very intentional.
Yeah.
It's not random.
Well, and that equation is so simple and yet so powerful. And I trust that our listeners just heard that. And if you didn't, pause. I don't know if there's a rewind button anymore, but push that 30-second button back and go listen to it again because that's powerful. Go write that down
Yeah.
because that is so true, that last part, that unshakable confidence,
Mhm.
right? That unshakable confidence is what I like to call your 10.0 version of yourself. Right? That
Mhm.
10.0 version of yourself is you got it. Right? You got this. And
Yeah.
that's really, really good. Okay, now I wanna learn more
Okay.
about your books. I wanna learn
Oh,
more
yeah.
about your business, right?
Sure.
We have, uh our listeners want to work with you. So tell us everything about your business. Tell us about what you love about that space, and then we'll go a little bit deeper, maybe with some specific questions.
Sure, absolutely. So I have multiple ways to engage with me. So
Okay.
there's a lot of flexibility to accommodate how you want to learn and the objectives that you have. So if you want to get a lot of one-on-one custom support, learning, reflection, and growth, I work with athletes, but I also do executive coaching. So I don't have executive coaching on my website because the roster is onesie twosies per month. So they're very hand selected. But if you're interested, you're welcome to email me, um, Nassim at becomingmystrongerme.com, and I'm sure we can link things.
Yeah.
But I do one-on-one coaching. The
Okay.
roster is limited
Okay. Good.
because it's one-on-one.
Good.
And my time, obviously, I give you my time in kind of the exactly this way. I mean, you're probably hearing the coaching style as well. Some amount of reflection and sharing and mentoring, but also a lot of education. So one-on-one. I also coach teams. So I will come in and teams, again, don't have to be limited to the athletic space. Although if you go to my website, it will read very athlete focused. I am invited to lead executive teams. I'm invited to do keynotes and presentations with teams, do breakout sessions, all the things, virtually or in person. Primarily, I do coach athletic teams, everything from pro all the way to youth, not any younger than about U11.
Okay.
So that 10, 11 is anything younger than that. I'm not the right fit for that environment. Not to say they don't need it, but for me at that point, with my skill set and my interest and passion, the parents are my target. So I also
Mm,
work with parents. So
mhm.
a lot of organizations who work with youth don't necessarily have a lot of parent education to support what they're doing in their space. And so I provide that crossover. I really believe in the whole ecosystem working together. So I've got individual one-on-ones. I've got group with athletes and parents and coaches. And actually, given the timing of this launch, I'm not exactly sure when this is going to go live, but the next cohort of the coach program launches mid-June of 2026.
Excellent.
It will, at the moment, it is likely to be quarterly. So if this feels off cycle for when you're listening to it, just send me an email and I can let you know when the next cohort is. That is specifically designed to incorporate mental performance techniques and tactics into your work in an applied way. So it'll give you a balance of the science backed approaches and theories with ability to apply it and practice it and get mentoring feedback from me in an 8-week time frame. So
Wow.
it's not going to make you a mental performance coach per se to handle much more challenging cases with athletes. So this is a very athletic focused training. Um, but it's not going to make you a mental performance coach magically in 8 weeks. But it'll give you that foundation to adjust your environment and support the majority of the athletes.
Love it.
Everybody else probably still needs some additional support, and then you would be referring to whatever resource either is local to you or to me.
Gotcha.
But that coaching program is probably going to be run quarterly.
Gotcha.
And then I have things that are much more accessible to everybody. So if you don't necessarily want to bring me in for a workshop or work with me one-on-one, but you're very interested about the content and you're a good self-paced learner, the Stronger Mind book, which you can actually only get through my website. And the reason for that is I sign everyone.
Wow. Love it.
So it's a bit of a production over here, but I really appreciate that high touch connection to people. And so I sign every single one. I send it out myself. And this book actually came from the podcast.
Mm,
So I talked a little bit about season one being about my, what I call great resignation, to align to kind of what happened during COVID and all my reflections in that first year. But then seasons 2 and 3 are mental performance.
Okay.
We're currently in season 3, and that's more focused on the science of mental performance. So I bring on people like yourself to talk about mental performance sorts of things in their life as athletes. And for those who don't know, Adam is an athlete and was a very high level tennis player. He's also raising athletes, and his story is fascinating. So please go check that out. Um, but what I was finding is the specialty topics, not the interviews, but I was recording myself educating my athletes and then posting it there and then sending them the link because in my sessions, I don't always have time to dive deep. And some really wanted the why to best understand how to use the tool. And then I started getting feedback from some of my athletes that it's really useful, except they want to write things down and highlight and go back and read. And the auditory format of a podcast, it just isn't conducive to that.
Mm, yeah.
So I was like, well, that's easy enough. Download transcripts. So I downloaded of the episodes that I tend to send the most often to my athletes. I just downloaded all the episodes, compiled them,
Smart.
bound it for my athletes only, right? So the intention was, I do this for you, and then I added 5 reflection questions based on what I normally coach out of that topic and bound it and published it as The Stronger Mind. Well, that book has gotten so popular, and it's a compilation of transcripts. So it sounds like I'm talking to you, like that voice in your head when you're reading, um, which people actually seem to like.
Yeah.
Right? Like instead of reading like a textbooky book. So The Stronger Mind you can find on the website, www.becomingmystrongerme.com. You can actually kind of see it in the graphic up here. But then the other book that you can see also on the screen is Ball or Goals. That is a very soccer specific doing book,
Okay.
right? It's got all the drills and the skills that you would train for soccer in that book. And that's actually the first of a series. So stay
Oh,
tuned.
good.
I'll be creating ones for other sports soon in a very parallel fashion. But I really believe that mental performance is a fundamental. And this book it coaches the doing aspect of the fundamentals.
Gotcha. Love that. Love it. Love it. Love it. I want to do something here with the Stronger Mind book. Not quite sure how to do this, but I want to buy 10 copies for the first 10 people that go and you're on Instagram or LinkedIn. What's the best one?
I'm on everything.
Okay, perfect.
I am on Instagram at Stronger Me,
Okay,
on LinkedIn, Nassim Ebrahimi. I'm also on TikTok at Becoming My Stronger Me, and on Facebook at Nassim
gotcha.
Ebrahimi.
Can't wait to see the TikTok of the dancing of the Stronger
Oh,
Mind.
I don't do any of that.
But here's what I want to do. Listeners, the first 10, go to Nassim's Instagram, type Stronger Mind, and let me know all those people because I want to buy 10 books for those first 10 people. So go to her Instagram, go DM her and just type Stronger Mind and she'll know what that means from this podcast. And just let me know, and then I'll shoot you a Venmo and we'll get these people books coming their way.
Amazing. That
Yeah,
is
perfect.
so generous.
I want
If
to
anyone wants to do and so in that vein,
yes.
like if you're throwing out some perks for your listeners, I am happy to. So if your listeners get 10 of their friends to
Mm,
start a little maybe book club or team read
mm,
with the
yep.
book, I will pop in for an hour
Perfect.
and just allow people to either fire away or add to the knowledge base.
Love it.
Um, and in order to do that, you also got to use the same code. Just send me a message. This is the group. Give me the names,
Okay.
and we'll work it out. Kind of not through the website, but on Instagram or LinkedIn. Just refer to this podcast and just say,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm putting together a book club and invite me. I
Love
would
it.
love to meet everybody."
Love it. So I want to do one thing before we end here. Um, for those that are really interested, right? They want to have a stronger mind. They want to be mentally stronger, right? So they're already strong, but they want to become stronger. They want to be. By the way, I'm going to a tennis tournament this weekend, and I bet I could fill your one-on-one roster with parents who are mental midgets that I need them to coach with you because they drive me crazy how bad they are with their kids. Sorry, that was a little rant. But man,
Send them my way.
I will for sure. What could someone expect if they're working with you, high proximity? It is one-on-one with you, whatever the time frame is that you would recommend. They would leave that sessions with what? What are they?
Mhm.
Because stronger mentally, okay, we can say that. That feels good. what is on the other side, right? Was is I'm committing to you, coach. Coach me up here. What am I getting on the other side?
So I think the athletes that work with me, a c I think a couple of key things, concepts become really clear. The goal is not to, like, not emote, right? Some people
Mm,
think being mentally tough means showing no emotion.
right.
I am exactly opposite of that.
Mm,
That emotion shows me you care, as long as you keep it productive. So one main concept that I feel like is a game changer is emotions are not good or bad. They're either productive or unproductive for
mm,
that moment. And then of course we talk about exactly what that means and what it means for you and your context. So that's where the customized coaching comes in, because then how to make them productive is the coaching.
right.
The other is the brain likes to be right. These two concepts are literal game changers. In my world, mental toughness is not a lack of emotion, holding it in, quote unquote, holding it together. That's kind of the stereotypical, like they'll say, oh, this person's mentally tough. Not when they're collapsing on the inside. Mental toughness brings mental clarity.
Mm, so good.
That to me is the difference. If you can keep your physiology, your language, and your focus productive simultaneously, that allows you the mental clarity to use all of your gifts and skill sets in that moment, that is a stronger mind.
Mm, wow. Wow. My mind's actually going really fast right now. That was really, really good because I'm thinking, okay, I wanna sign up for one-on-one. I'm gonna bring my son, I'm gonna bring my daughter, I'm gonna bring their entire academy to you, because that is so good on so many different facets. I mean, it's because we think about mental toughness in the sporting space. Tennis is a very mental challenging sport, though coaching is as well, right? Being
Yes.
a coach can be mentally taxing if you're in the wrong lane, if you're in a silo, if keep filling in the blanks, right? So I
Mhm.
absolutely love that. And here's what I want to do. We're gonna stop right there. I didn't even tell you I was gonna do this. We're gonna stop right there because there will be a part two of this podcast
I
because
love
we
that.
are going to go deeper into that, right? I want to go deeper into your language, your coaching, your brain in that space where we can bring a coaching session to the podcast and coach the listeners, right? Coach the listeners, maybe just on a paragraph of a book, right? Of Stronger Mind. Just bring them something there that so we're gonna leave this as a cliffhanger there that there will be, assuming you'll come back. There will be a part two to this podcast. Yes. Because I've had a lot of fun. This has been incredible. Thank you.
It has. And I just want to thank you because you are taking things that are that unknown, that feels hard to do, that that reflection, and you're helping to guide and
Mm,
tease apart and encourage and exemplify how important work it is to do on ourselves to then give to others in our passion spaces. And I took away from the podcast that you were a guest on my podcast, that conversation just keeps resonating with me. And it's not even out yet. And I feel so bad. I mean, by the time this gets released, that's probably released. But at the moment of recording this, it's not even out yet. But I've listened to it multiple times now.
mm, right.
And even if it doesn't impact any of my listeners, which I am 100% sure every single one of them will take at least one gem away, it made a difference for me.
Oh, thank you.
And that work that you're doing and even this platform that you're bringing and just sharing information so freely. This is all free,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? This is we're not I mean, yes, we have to live, right? We have to monetize
Sure.
some components. But the core of what we're doing, and that's why I feel so connected and aligned to the work that you're doing, is so much bigger than satisfying that particular need, which again is important. but there's a much higher purpose. So I just want to thank you for this platform, for all the different platforms that you have for coaches and people who are just curious about coaching.
Right. Yeah.
So
Well, thank you for
thank
saying
you
that.
for the work,
Well,
work
thank
that you
you.
do.
I have no doubt that we were connected for a reason. So we are going to continue this connection. We're going to continue keep empowering people because that's what we're called to do, right? That really is. I have no doubt that that's what you're called to do as well because you're already doing it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for your stories. Excited for part two when it comes. And yeah, go give her a follow on all of her platforms. Go buy her books. If you're one of the first 10 that DM her on Instagram, Stronger Mind, I will buy the book for you. Okay. We'll see you guys
Thank
next
you
time.
so much, Adam.
Thank you, Nassim. See ya. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.